The police found me while I was sitting dazed on a small mound, a tiny hillock, next to where my mother was resting. Julian led a whole team rushing up, pointing guns at me. I turned around. Our eyes met. His eyes were filled with ice. Once, those very eyes had saved me from hell when I was abused by my father and my mother was so weak I wanted to give up on life. But now his gaze held only disgust and rejection. On the way back to the station, Julian closed his eyes in silence, not saying a word. His colleagues looked at each other, whispering quietly.
What's wrong with Captain Julian? He must be tired. Lately, he's been tirelessly chasing this female fugitive for 5 years. I don't think that's it. I heard yesterday he even went to meet his future mother-in-law. He's probably busy with his girlfriend. Captain Julian is getting married soon, right? I heard it's in 2 months. I met the sister-in-law the other day. She's very beautiful and a piano artist too. Amazing. Truly enviable. The captain is talented, rich, and has a beautiful lover, completely different from us poor guys.
I looked at the person sitting in front through the iron bars. That back was still as broad as ever, only from now on, the sky is high and the ocean wide, there will be no possibility between us anymore. Arriving at the station, I was locked in a temporary detention cell. A female officer searched and took all the items on me. When she held the phone, I asked, "Miss, can the phone be left behind?" She glanced at me and replied, "According to regulations, it will be kept as evidence. So there's probably no chance to get it back." What a pity, the phone still had a few dozen of my most precious photos. But well, I probably won't use it anymore. With the crime of killing my biological father, I'm not sure I'll walk out of here alive. The next day, I was taken to the interrogation room. Julian and another officer named Trent interrogated me. I knew this police officer. The year my mother passed away, he had come to investigate.
Sarah, do you remember me?
Of course I remember. That stormy night that year, I lost the person who loved me the most. The next day, despite everyone saying it was just a suicide, he stubbornly asked me again and again.
Little sister, tell me the truth. Did your mother really commit suicide?
At that time, I glanced at my father's cold face beside me and nodded. Now he stubbornly asked again.
Sarah, was it really you? The culprit who killed her own father and disposed of the body?
I looked straight ahead. Yes, I am the culprit. There are my fingerprints on the clothes. The knife is in the disposal bag. I stabbed with such force that even the knife tip bent. Julian tapped his pen on the notebook, a sign that he was extremely annoyed. Officer Trent continued asking.
5 years ago, you were the valedictorian of Westwood High School. Just by studying hard, you could have passed into Harvard or Yale. Every teacher remarked that you were a good, obedient, and sensible girl. Why would such a good student kill her own biological father?
I lowered my head, my voice so small it trembled. Because I hated him. My father was the worst person in this world, and a devil in the eyes of my mother and me. 5 years ago, I thought I could escape the mud and have a beautiful life. Teachers loved me, friends cared for me, and I met Julian, a boy who looked hot-tempered on the outside, but was actually very soft-hearted, giving me all his love. When I fainted from studying and working too much, Julian said with red eyes,
Baby, I have money. Can't we use it? I don't want to see you suffer like this.
On my birthday, he took me to a house luxurious as a palace and said,
Baby, we will live here in the future.
Then he pointed to his mother, who was beautiful as a fairy.
Baby, this is my mother. She will be your mother in the future too.
I looked at the woman with that benevolent face, never thinking how those gentle eyes could hide such complex emotions. Later I understood, and had to pay a terrible price. Under Officer Trent's rapid questioning, I recounted how Carl abused me and my mother for over 10 years, finally choking out. That day he drank alcohol and was about to beat me again. Mom was gone. There was only me and him in the house. I was really too scared of being beaten to death. In a panic, then I was afraid others would find out, afraid I couldn't take the university entrance exam, so I imitated a Hong Kong movie, dismembered the body, and threw it under the bridge. I didn't mean to, really didn't mean to. I was just too scared. The fear rushed back, making me tremble, tears falling in large drops. The two men in front said nothing more. At the end of the interrogation, Julian held me back, asking one more time.
Sarah, I'm asking for the last time. 5 years ago, did you really accidentally kill Carl?
Yes.
And you disposed of the body yourself?
Yes.
That day you insisted on breaking up with me. Was it because of this?
His eyes darkened as if wanting to see through my soul. I replied calmly, "No, I just extremely hate the type of silver spoon prince like you." Julian transferred to our class in the first semester of 12th grade. In this tiny town, a handsome guy driving a Maserati suddenly appeared, causing an uproar in the whole school. He was both arrogant and lively. Countless people liked him. In class, Julian was famous for having good relationships with everyone, but with me, there was almost no contact, which wasn't strange because I was truly too busy. Besides the pile of homework stacked high, I had to read books, and in my rare free time, I either worked part-time at the supermarket or helped in the canteen kitchen. Once I was bending down to clear trays, Julian suddenly walked over. He took off his jacket and tied it around my waist.
That. Class monitor. It looks like you got your period.
Saying that, he ran away and disappeared. My face flushed red. It was true that it came late this month, so I didn't notice, but I had given all the money on me to my mother. If I wanted to buy sanitary pads, I would have to starve tonight. I was still hesitating whether to go to the small canteen to buy some when Julian returned, holding a pack of day-use sanitary pads.
I just asked the sales lady. Girls usually use this type. Thinking it must be inconvenient for you. Just take it and use it first.
He was over 6 feet 2 inches, with thick eyebrows, a bright face, honest to the point of making one's heart flutter. I heard my own heartbeat clearly, bit my lip, and accepted that kindness. Later I found out that jacket was worth thousands of dollars, making me even more uneasy. I washed the jacket clean and went to the basketball court to find him. At that time, Julian was sweating like rain. Seeing me, he ran over.
Class monitor, why did you come here?
I carefully handed over the jacket. Your jacket, returning it to you.
It's okay. It's just a jacket.
No, it's very expensive.
All right. Thank you for washing it for me.
Julian didn't mind, scratching his head and smiling.
But class monitor, why are you always so busy every day? I see school ended long ago, but you're still doing homework, and you come to class very early in the morning to read. You are really hardworking.
How could I explain to a rich kid that the university entrance exam was the only chance for me to change my fate? But it seemed he didn't care about that either. We only had a brief intersection, and then each returned to our own world. Only I knew, in my heart, from that moment on, there was a strange beat. I secretly watched him joke and chat with everyone. Heard him say he liked LeBron James, liked clay pot chicken, liked historical strategists. Knew he was extremely good at gaming, top tier at both jungling and marksman, and even had hundreds of thousands of fans on a live stream platform. Knew the university exam for him was just a formality. He was destined to study abroad and then return to intern at his family's company. Knew his future was definitely bright, and he was the type of person I could never reach in this lifetime. But I still secretly thought, if I tried hard to get into Harvard or Yale, chose a major with a future, maybe one day I could stand by his side, looking at the world together. I never thought Julian would like me. That day was a spring weekend. I was working part-time at the basketball arena. Julian came to play and sprained his ankle. Friends wanted to take him to the hospital, but he refused. I carried the medical kit and sat down in front of him, rubbing his ankle. His skin was tanned. As soon as my hand rubbed, he hissed softly. I panicked, afraid I hurt him, and quickly looked up. "Does it hurt a lot?" Julian looked at me slightly dazed, a moment later stuttering.
No, not hurting.
His breathing became heavier, his body also heated up a bit. I didn't realize, just seriously massaged him. From that day, Julian started appearing frequently in front of me. He went with me to work part-time, studied with me, so much that the whole class realized something was different. Until a spring day full of blooming flowers, Julian confessed to me. Back then we were too young, thinking that as long as we loved each other, we could overcome all difficulties. Until I killed my father 2 days after the university entrance exam. I finished dealing with him, then went to meet Julian to break up. A young, arrogant boy like him actually knelt down begging me not to go. His handsome face was wet with tears. Those eyes looked exactly like his mother's. I hated it so much. Why did he bring a ray of light into my dark world and then force me to extinguish it with my own hands? Julian completely didn't know what his mother had done. He just stubbornly asked me why I had to break up. I looked at him and laughed coldly. Of course, because you have no use value anymore. My family is poor, living expenses aren't enough. I have to run to work part-time every day, tired to death. Luckily there was you, this stupid person giving me pocket money, buying things for me. Thanks to that I suffered less. Now that the exam is over, you're about to study abroad, you're worthless to me. Julian panicked, his whole body trembling.
Sarah, if it's for that reason, I can choose not to go abroad.
A car stopped nearby. Julian's mother slowly rolled down the window. She quietly observed everything, her eyes without a trace of warmth. But both of us understood what she was thinking. I looked at Julian, my eyes icy and decisive. No need, your skills in bed are too terrible, I find it disgusting. Don't cling to me anymore, Julian. People like you and me are not from the same world. Go be your young master, let's never meet again from now on. One breakup led to so many years of not seeing each other. Meeting again, we were police and criminal. I was locked deepest in the detention center. A serious criminal like me was confined in a solitary cell, not seeing Julian. I leaned against the wall all day in a daze. In my head, besides his radiant 18-year-old face, was the image of a small girl with a clear laugh. She was very good, running on the grass calling me, "Mommy, Mommy." She asked me, "Mommy, if I die, will I turn into a star?" She said, "Mommy, I want to be with you forever, I don't want to be sick anymore." She said, "Mommy, my heart hurts, when will my heart disease go away?" She said, "Mommy, I don't want to die." I touched the scar on my wrist thinking, my crime will surely get the death penalty, just hoping my daughter walks slowly. The investigation lasted longer than I thought. A week passed and no one came to find me. Only a female officer brought sanitary pads for me after her shift, casually chatting. "Do you know Officer Julian? He asked me to buy this for you." I shook my head. "No, Maine, I don't know him. He's probably just kind-hearted." Probably not. Since the day he transferred to this area, I've never seen him treat anyone like that. Actually, Sarah, I remember you. You scored over 690 points in the university entrance exam. You were even in the newspaper. Journalists called you a seed for Harvard or Yale, the pride of Westwood High. No one believes you would do such a thing. Our investigation showed your father was a notorious thug here, a scourge of society. She paused and softened her voice. If you have any grievances, you must tell Officer Trent. It will be beneficial for the trial. I shook my head. No, Maine, no need. Before the law, everyone is equal. I accept my retribution. A few days later, Officer Trent brought papers for me to sign. I don't know why I blurted out. No, Maine officer, the other time. Why don't I see him today? Officer Trent looked at me once.
Captain Julian has family matters, and took leave.
My pen tip stalled, ink spreading. In my head, the rumors from before suddenly echoed. Julian is about to get engaged. The handwriting blurred, my hand trembling. No, Maine, sorry, I didn't mean to.
It's okay, it doesn't affect anything.
I didn't expect to meet Julian's mother. She deliberately asked to see me, making me slightly stunned. 5 years not seeing her, she was still as high and mighty as before, only it seemed her eyes were darker than before. Seeing me, she was full of hatred. Sarah, it's been 5 years. Why didn't you die out there? It's all because of you that Julian refused to study abroad, so his father abandoned him to raise the illegitimate child outside. Our peaceful life was all destroyed by you. A jinx like you should have gone to hell. Don't get close to Julian anymore, I beg you. Whether you die or go to jail, get out of his life as far as possible. Looking into eyes that were 30% like Julian's, I just wanted to laugh. Mrs. Sterling, you harmed your own son yourself. What you said to Carl, surely you still remember. I didn't tell Julian because I didn't want him to be heartbroken. No, Maine, my crime is 9 out of 10 sure to be the death penalty. Don't come here anymore, or else I'll go crazy and drag another person to be buried with me. I didn't know what happened outside. For half a month I didn't see Julian appear, but I always felt the officers in the detention center treated me with special tolerance. Their eyes looking at me all carried a heavy scrutiny. That strangeness was finally understood when I met the lawyer before the trial. My defense lawyer was a young girl, her face still inexperienced, but when she looked at me, her eyes were very determined. She said, "Sarah, I believe you absolutely did not intentionally kill him. These past days on the internet, there are many bloggers discussing your case. Even your old classmates stood up to confirm how hardworking and diligent you were back in school. Even your homeroom teacher said she knew well what a terrible person your father was. If needed, she is ready to testify in court. This will be very beneficial for your case." I bowed my head very low, my hands trembling. In my head, the scene of breaking up with Julian constantly replayed, how teachers and friends enthusiastically advised me. They were all very good people, thinking I was just impulsive. Unexpectedly, in the end, I uttered such cruel words. Homeroom teacher Mrs. Chu, who had cared for me for 3 years, for the first time frowned and scolded, "Sarah, how can you trample on other people's hearts like that?" Since that day, we haven't met again. This time when they see me personally exposing all my past, will they still be able to be tolerant like today? The day of the trial came very quickly. Many acquaintances gathered in the courtroom. The crowd of spectators was unprecedented. In the corner of the room was my former landlady, Mrs. Lee, eyes teary, looking at me crying nonstop. Officer Trent took turns presenting evidence and my crimes. The judge confirmed each one. I didn't refute, admitted everything. The judge asked me,
Sarah, regarding the murder of Carl and the disposal of the body, does the defendant plead guilty?
I plead guilty.
Anything else to say?
No.
All right.
The door on the right suddenly opened. Julian led a woman in. Her belly slightly protruding, her face extremely familiar. It was Molly, the only close friend I had during school. I saw Julian wrapping his arm around her waist, carefully helping her sit down. Julian's fiancé turned out to be her? The judge began sentencing.
Defendant Sarah committed manslaughter and desecration of a corpse. The nature is serious, the consequences severe. But at the time of the crime, the defendant was under 18 years old. Pursuant to the criminal code, sentenced to 10 years in prison.
This was completely an unexpected result. Holding the mindset ready to die, hearing this verdict, I didn't know what to say. My lawyer smiled lightly at me. She must be genuinely happy for me. The trial ended. I was escorted back to the detention center. Mrs. Lee rushed over. "Sarah, what about Angel? How is her illness?" I smiled. "No, main Mrs. Lee, Angel is gone." It was because she was gone that I no longer had a reason to continue hiding. I really just wanted to go find her. In the detention center, Julian brought Molly to see me. Molly cried until her nose was red. "Sarah, are you okay? You've suffered, boo-hoo." Back in school, Molly was a chubby girl. Every time she was bullied, she only knew to hide behind my back and cry. So many years, and she hadn't changed at all. I smiled at her. "No, it's okay, Molly, I'm fine." Molly cried even harder. "Don't smile anymore, your smile looks like you're about to cry." Separated by the glass, I couldn't wipe her tears either. And Julian standing next to her didn't know how to offer a few comforting words. I could only reassure Molly. "No, it's okay, just 10 years, it will pass very quickly. You have to take care of your health for the baby." After talking with Molly for a few sentences, visitation time was over. When about to leave, Julian, who had been silent from the beginning, suddenly looked up at me.
Who is Angel?
Julian stared into my eyes as if wanting to dig a hole in my heart. I calmly smiled slightly at him. "No, it's a small dog I raised while on the run. It was always by my side. It got very sick and died not long ago. I buried it. I buried it on a high mound, windy, where it can see the bright sun and the shade of a big tree. Next to it is its gentle, kind grandmother resting. I burned paper money. Grandma will take good care of it." Julian's eyes turned completely red, pursing his lips looking at me.
Sarah, is there a single true word coming out of your mouth?
I was exhausted to the extreme, bowing my head not wanting to say more. I didn't understand why. Not long after, he transferred to the prison where I was staying. I served my sentence on this side. He patrolled on the other side, taking care of logistics. We almost never said a word to each other, and he didn't intentionally seek me out. At first, I heard through the guards' gossip that it was strange for someone talented like him to give up his previous job to transfer here. Later, even those stories gradually became fewer. Everyone seemed to get used to such a rhythm of life. My thoughts were always in turmoil. To make myself suffer less, with the help of the guard, I started reading books again and learning a trade. I learned to make velvet flowers and crochet dolls, praised by teachers. Time just passed like that. Because of good behavior, the 10-year sentence was reduced to 7 years. The day I was released, Julian stood waiting at the gate. He said he wanted to take me home. 12 years. We had known each other for 12 years. Meeting again, I only felt light in my heart, as if everything had passed. He was much more mature, wearing casual clothes, skin tanned, no longer having the appearance of the teenager from years ago. Seeing me, he came forward wanting to help hold my bag. I shook my head, touched the scar on my wrist, and took a step back. "Officer Julian, this is not appropriate. I can call a car myself." Julian snatched the bag from my hand, his voice low and cold.
Get in the car, or let me carry you in. Choose yourself.
Sitting in the passenger seat, I took back my phone, but it had been too long so it wouldn't turn on anymore. While driving, Julian used one hand to take an object out of his pocket and threw it onto my lap.
Won it in a lucky draw, giving it to you.
Actually, he overestimated me. I had no one to contact. Or, in other words, pretty soon I wouldn't have contact with this world anymore. I just hoped to escape him as quickly as possible. Silently accepting the phone, the car ran for a while longer. When it stopped, I realized something was wrong. Where is this? His house? Julian actually brought me back to the villa from years ago. Walking past the living room, brushing past Mrs. Sterling with a face full of surprise, he dragged me straight to the second floor. His bedroom was still the same, only the style became heavier, gloomier. He locked the door, threw the key out the window, and walked into the bathroom himself. The sound of running water rang out. I stood in the middle of the room, my mind confused to numbness, but then became sleepy. So I leaned on the sofa and fell asleep. In the dream, I went back to high school when I loved Julian. The first time dating at his house, Julian seduced me, kissed me again and again, called me baby, said when old enough he would marry me. I trembled in his arms, not knowing heaven or earth, intertwined until midnight. When I woke up, I sneaked out intending to leave when I encountered Mrs. Sterling sitting in the living room. Arms crossed over her chest, her face darkened, her words full of sarcasm. "No wonder you're the child of a thug, truly a low-class type with no self-respect. You are with Julian only for money, right? I tell you, don't dream. You will never step foot into the Sterling family." Back then I was so innocent, so simple, thinking I could be like in idol dramas fighting against the rich mother. I confidently replied, "No, ma'am, Julian and I truly love each other. I'm not after the Sterling family fortune. If you're worried, I can sign any agreement. I just want to be with him, otherwise I need nothing." Mrs. Sterling laughed softly, uttering 2 words, naive. At that time I didn't understand yet. Just her moving a finger was enough to crush me. Julian finished bathing and walked out. I saw his body covered with scars large and small. Inside his eyes it was dark, full of broken eye shards. Outside the door, Mrs. Sterling regained her senses, starting to pound the door frantically. Julian pulled the door open forcefully.
Mom, what are you doing?
His voice was gentle, but inside was an unconcealed madness. At this moment, I discovered his table was full of all kinds of medicine. Mrs. Sterling also seemed about to collapse, rushing straight into the room, pointing at my face and cursing. "Because of this little murderer, you dare to refuse the arranged marriage, turning yourself into something not human, not ghost. Quitting the police job to work as a prison guard, now quitting the guard job too. What on earth do you want? Sarah has no looks, no figure. Do you plan to argue with your mother all your life for this cheap goods?" Julian laughed, coldly looking at her.
Mrs. Sterling, if you say one more word, I will die for you to see. Anyway, I've been sick of being turned into your tool all my life. I won't let you control me anymore. I brought Sarah back just to let you know my choice has never changed. Don't say she's a criminal. Even if she were a lunatic, I would still love her. Tonight you should be careful. If you provoke us, I'll send you to the other world first, then follow right after.
Mrs. Sterling's face turned red then white, white then red. The door slammed shut with a bang. The whole room fell silent. Julian walked step by step to hug me, pressing me down on the bed.
Sarah, do you still love me?
No. He acted as if he didn't hear, hugging me even tighter, lowering his head to kiss my lips.
It's okay. It's okay if you don't love me. Just as well, I don't love you either.
He lied. His arms tightened around me as if wanting to press me to merge into him. I let him arrange things, but before reaching the final step, he suddenly stopped, dropping his body onto mine. He propped himself up, his eyes bloodshot.
Sarah, why don't you love me?
I didn't answer. Why don't I love you? Because I'm not worthy, and you're not worthy either. The next day, while Julian wasn't paying attention, I secretly called a car to leave. When stepping into the car, Mrs. Sterling stood on the second floor looking down, her eyes cold and decisive. The car sped forward. Julian stumbled, chasing after. He ran a few steps then fell. Not having time to check his wounds, he crawled up and ran again. Only then did Mrs. Sterling panic and rush down to block him. I heard him screaming, tearing his guts out.
Sarah, don't leave me.
But I no longer wanted to answer him. The taxi ran for more than an hour to where Angel was buried. Her grave was covered with weeds. Next to it was my mother's grave. I pulled out the grass with my bare hands, my palms bleeding, but I felt no pain. Lying between the two graves, my heart felt a bit of peace after a long time. New, Main Mom, Angel, long time no see. Sorry for leaving you two here for so long. Angel, I'm the one who loves you most. Mommy is very bad, not visiting you for so long. This time Mommy comes to find you. Mommy promises you from now on I won't leave anymore. The sky was pale blue, clouds pressing low, wind lightly brushing past my ears as if saying long time no see. I touched the rough tombstone and slowly fell asleep. In the dream, Mother's face was as gentle as before. My father, Carl, rushed in drunk, cursing me for dating early, intending to beat me to death. Mother hugged him tightly, shouting for me to run. Just as I ran out of the house, turning my head back, I saw Carl push Mother down, her head hitting the altar, a crack the size of a teacup, blood pouring out. Almost without time to struggle, she was gone. At that moment, the thought of revenge flared up. I immediately understood that between me and Julian, there would never be a future anymore. But I couldn't bear it. I wanted to break up with him properly. I gave my all to him. On that pure white bed, I offered Julian all my love, but even so, there wasn't a peaceful ending. Mrs. Sterling was a person with extremely strong control. She hated bitterly that I was involved with her son. She secretly sought out Carl, wanting him to force me to inject drugs. 1 million yuan in exchange for a needle to make me addicted. Carl agreed immediately without thinking. How chaotic that rainy night was, I don't remember clearly now, only remember when I woke up. Carl was lying in a pool of blood. Mrs. Sterling's voice message was still playing. Your child is just trash, not worthy to enter the Sterling family's door. How about this? I give you another 1 million. You just sleep with her so she stops dreaming. Don't dirty my son anymore. From that day, I knew Julian and I could never go back to how it was. At first, I thought about dragging him down to hell together, but at the last minute, I couldn't bear to say those heartless words. Seeing Julian crying faintly like an abandoned dog, inside me there was both a twisted pleasure and pain, like being torn into pieces. Later, when our daughter, Angel, was born, those twisted emotions gradually faded away. There was a time I thought I would live again, just need to be with my daughter, living healthily and peacefully day by day. But then Angel was diagnosed with congenital heart disease. At the same time, Carl's remains were discovered by bloggers going exploring. It was all fate not letting me live a peaceful life. Angel, despite going through many treatments, finally passed away in the hospital. The day Julian came to arrest me, I deliberately stood straight before the grave, whispering to Angel in my heart, "Baby, this is your father." Julian is a very, very good person, just that he was unlucky to be dragged into my filthy world by me. A chaotic life like this finally has to have a full stop. I no longer had the strength to stand up. Blood flowed slowly from my wrist, my body also gradually getting cold. I saw Mom and Angel waiting for me in the distance, the two wearing white dresses waving at me. I hurriedly ran over, wanting to get closer to them, closer. In a daze, it seemed I heard someone screaming my name, but listening more closely, that sound was carried away by the wind. 3 months later, in the villa in the eastern suburbs, gentle music played. Molly was helping me with makeup, crying more as she worked, her tears falling profusely. I looked at her in surprise. Main Molly, why are you crying? You're a mother and still so childish? Molly hurriedly wiped her tears. No, nothing. Must be dust in my eyes. She lied. Where would dust come from in the room? I was a bit bewildered. Since waking up, I always felt everyone around me was strange. Not just Molly, Julian too. Before, when we were in love, although he pampered me, he never clung like now, to the point where even changing clothes he followed closely without leaving half a step. I smiled and pushed him. Main, hey, it was just an accident coma. 10 years, now I'm awake. Don't be scared anymore. Julian looked at me passionately, lowering his head to kiss lightly.
My wife is beautiful as a fairy. What if I look a bit more?
While he went to get things, I changed into the wedding dress. When bowing my head, suddenly seeing stretch marks on my belly, I suspiciously asked Molly. Main, why does my belly have stretch marks? How can there be such a thing at this age? Molly was about to cry again. Probably due to lying down too long. The wedding today only invited very few people. Julian said everyone was busy, only Molly and a few of his close friends came. Molly, after the university entrance exam, was discovered to be the biological daughter of the eldest uncle of the Sterling family, having been switched at birth. She was welcomed home, not long after married the arranged person. Now she is very happy, a famous piano artist, has a lovely son, her husband is gentle and pampering, truly sweetness after bitterness. On the red carpet, Julian held my hand, his hand trembling slightly. Many times he secretly wiped tears. I reached out to wipe tears for him. He grabbed it and pulled me into his arms, lowering his head to kiss me.
Sarah, finally I can marry you.
Below the stage, Molly cried until her eyes were swollen. The wedding took place quickly, but when it ended, a noisy sound rang out outside. It seemed a woman was cursing shrilly. I intended to go out to see, but was pulled back by Julian into his arms. He lowered his head to kiss me.
Outside is dangerous. Don't go out. Be good. Wait for me here.
Saying that, he went out. I walked to the second floor, looking down only to see the person making noise was Julian's mother. Her hair was completely white, no makeup, looking insane. Don't know what he said, but she raised her head looking hatefully. Seeing me, she screamed. "Sarah, you murderer. Why do you harm my son all his life? Do you know because of you he abandoned this whole family? What right do you have?" In those red eyes was hatred that couldn't be measured. In my head suddenly a voice rang out, "Your child is not worthy to enter the Sterling family's door. I give you another $1 million, you just sleep with her so she stops dreaming, don't dirty my son anymore." Images piled up appeared. Memories buried deep now burned again like ashes. How could I forget that night, the sky gloomy and terrifying? Carl drank heavily. Seeing Mrs. Sterling's message, immediately rushed into my room, wanting to tear my clothes. He was truly scum to the bone. Just for the $1 million Mrs. Sterling promised, he actually planned to rape his own biological daughter. I struggled desperately begging him to let go, but useless. Finally, my hand grabbed the fruit knife on the headboard, stabbed straight, severing Carl's artery, also severing my own future. Julian finished resolving the matter and rushed up to me, worried I was scared. He reached out to hold my face.
Baby, are you scared?
I shook my head. His voice was very light, extremely gentle, like returning to 18 years old. But deep in those eyes was piled with sorrow. Julian was the person dragged into this vortex by me. He gave up the complete life that belonged to him, accepting to be with me living in hell. At this moment, I finally understood, if God let me live on, then I must live well. I wrapped my arms around his neck, stood on tiptoe to kiss his lips. New, main hubby hold me.
Sarah, what did you just call me?
New, main hubby.
Good girl. You remember everything?
New, main yeah, everything.
Don't be scared. Hubby is always with you.
3 years after that, I let Julian return to the Sterling Group, starting again from the lowest position. His father now had a son with the second wife. Wanting to regain the position wasn't easy. Luckily, Julian had both intelligence and capability. In just 2 short years, he climbed to the position of regional general manager, highly appreciated by his father. Mrs. Sterling was extremely smug, always thinking she had credit in this matter, several times wanting to come cause trouble. Julian said nothing, just asked me if I wanted to send his mother abroad. I said wait a little longer. The year I was 34, I became pregnant again with twin girls. Mrs. Sterling rushed to the postpartum care center, looking at the 2 babies with a face full of disgust. Bastard children, giving birth to useless ones. Can't give birth to a son, trash. I calmly looked at her. New, Maine, do you know why you can still stand here today? It's because I want to let you see, even if you exhausted all efforts to ruin my life, your son still stands beside me. These 2 children were conceived by artificial insemination initiated by me. The gender was intentionally chosen by me. See, aren't they cute? Actually, before, you had a granddaughter. That night you forced Carl to sleep with me, she was already in my belly. I used all my strength to give birth to twin girls, so that later they will ask you, Grandma, you are also a woman. Why are you so cruel to women? Look closely at this youngest one's face. She looks very much like her sister. Julian even said she looks very much like him when he was small. Come here and take a look. Mrs. Sterling's face turned pale, stepping back in fear. You, what nonsense are you saying? How do I have a granddaughter? New, Maine, her name is Angel. Very, very cute. She is right under your feet looking at you, asking why you haven't come down to play with her yet. Mrs. Sterling breathed rapidly, staggering to escape the hospital room. Julian walked in from outside asking,
Are you hungry? I bought some food for you.
He definitely heard my conversation with his mother, but didn't ask a single question. Not long after, heard that Mrs. Sterling went mad, taken to a mental hospital. Julian took her there, then came back to pick up the 3 of us home.
Sarah, do you want to sell this house to change to a bigger one?
I looked at his gentle face, nodding. New, Maine, you are the head of the family, everything listens to you. The 2 daughters were very obedient and sensible. Julian took care of them attentively in every little thing, everything seemed peaceful. Days passed quietly, only that on many nights, Julian often quietly woke up, reaching out to touch my breath. He thought I was fast asleep, carefully crawled into my arms, pressing his ear to listen to my heartbeat, then said, Sorry, Sarah, I let you and Angel suffer so much hardship. He also often secretly went to burn incense for Angel and my mother. Days just passed like that. Gradually, I felt I had let go. Just at this time, Julian was discovered to have liver cancer. The disease progressed very quickly. When discovered, it was already the final stage. At that time, he wasn't even 50 years old. He was thin, but still worried that after he passed away I would be disadvantaged, so he transferred most of the company shares to my name. The 2 daughters cried sobbingly. I sat by the bed stroking his hair, my heart both numb and torn in pain. Julian's eyes were red.
Sarah, in this life of ours, really don't know who owes whom more. I love you to the point of wanting to give you the whole world, but I am also the one who harmed you for a lifetime. I'm going to find Angel first, play with her. I am a father, but never was with her since she was born. This time let me go first.
My face was calm, but when I bent down to kiss him, tears fell. New, Maine, okay, hubby, you and Angel wait for me on the other side. Angel is very good. She loves Daddy very much. Treat her really well, okay? Julian closed his eyes. His breathing gradually weakened until it flatlined. I sighed softly. This whole life eventually was still missed opportunities. After so many storms, this period of over 10 years together at the end, between me and Julian always had to be cautious, reserved. He let me put his mother in the mental hospital, also let me order the nurse to torment her. But even if venting all anger couldn't return to the innocent days of love in the beginning, in the end, we still became the most distant husband and wife. Side story, Julian. After cutting her wrists, Sarah was in a coma for a very long time. The doctor said because of losing too much blood, there was a high possibility of leaving brain damage. He didn't care, just as long as she was alive it was enough. Mrs. Sterling came once, seeing him guarding by the hospital bed, couldn't even say curse words anymore, going round and round, only left a few sentences. Daughters of thugs are all trash, genes are also trash type. Julian heard and just laughed.
You are nothing more than a mistress who climbed up to be the legal wife. What's so noble?
Mrs. Sterling delivered a slap, leaving in anger. From small to big, Julian was always a generous person. Everything listened to his mother's arrangement. Until meeting Sarah, he knew what he truly wanted. Many times thinking back, he also didn't understand why in this life he only wanted to be attached to Sarah alone. Maybe because when young, in that dark afternoon mist, she was too brilliant, too dazzling. It wasn't that he hadn't tried meeting others, but every time dating, just seeing those women, inside his head appeared Sarah's clear, gentle eyes, the way Sarah gently rubbed medicine for him when he sprained his ankle. Rebellion once started will have a second time, a third time. When he quit the job at the company running to be a police officer, giving up inheritance rights, Mrs. Sterling was angry to the point of going mad. All her life she was always strong, hated most women outside, seducing her husband. Now even the only son making her proud also abandoned everything. Mrs. Sterling scolded him, but he said not a word. The second year working as a police officer, when flipping through old case files, he saw Carl's case. The moment the suspect's photo appeared, his head seemed to explode. He never thought it was Sarah. 5 years not seeing, yet when seeing her, his heart still throbbed in pain. Calculating the time, the reason for breaking up in the past was clear as day, no need to ask to know. Yet he still stubbornly wanted to hear her say it herself. Sarah was also equally stubborn, using all her strength to repeat every heartless sentence that year. Inside, Julian's heart choked up. He didn't understand why Sarah forced herself to such a dead end. That night, Julian drank alcohol, staggering back home, lying down on the sofa crying until hoarse, in his mouth only calling Sarah's name. Mrs. Sterling, no matter how angry, felt sorry for her child, coaxing him to drink hangover soup, covering him with a blanket. In the middle of the night, he woke up intending to go to the toilet. Passing her room, he heard her kneeling before the Buddha statue mumbling, "Bodhisattva, I only told him to sleep with the girl, didn't expect to cause Carl's death. It's all Sarah's fault, not related to me." Julian was like being struck by lightning. He never thought his own biological mother was the one contributing to destroying Sarah's life. From that moment, he felt locked in an invisible cage. Inside his heart weighed a heavy rock, a guilt weighing 1,000 pounds. Seeing Sarah's desperate eyes, that feeling became even more dense. It seemed besides staying by her side, enduring everything together, he couldn't do anything more. Julian quit his job at the police station, transferring completely to work as a prison guard. Leaders regretfully said he was wasting himself, but he didn't care. He had silently been by Sarah's side for 8 years, walking with her through the darkest time. But when she was released from prison, she chose to end her own life. That day, his heart suddenly felt indescribably uneasy. Seeing her catch a taxi to leave, the fear in him rose to the peak. Chasing all the way to the cemetery where her mother was buried, in front of his eyes were 2 graves, one large and one small. Was there anything left that he didn't understand?